Hi, my name is Francesca, also known as Frankie voeltz, and I'm a writer living on traditional Ho-Chunk land in Viroqua, Wisconsin. And I'm so delighted to share with you today a project called Dear Beloveds, which is an ongoing collective love letter to all beings in the universe. And this project came into being on a show and tell tour that I co-organized with Debbie Rasmussen, where we hosted all ages show and tells at stops around the US. And on that tour, my show and tell share was reading from a long poem entitled Dear Beloveds, addressed to all beings on the planet. And after I'd read from that poem, I'd invite others to write their own Dear Beloveds and then read them aloud to the group, because I just absolutely love the magic that happens when spaces come alive with other people's voices and stories. So I'm going to share a bit from my own Dear Beloveds poem while holding up cards that others have written, so you can kind of get both of those voices weaving together. Dear Beloveds, I understand that to address this poem to an entire planet, but to write it only in English is problematic. This is a small beginning. Dear Beloveds, when I lift my head skywards to scan for stars, feet pushing pedals, pushing bike forward, some of you are most likely doing the same. Some of you also decoding satellites and constellations. Some of you catching the pink bloom of sunset. Some gauging the gray to guess when the sun will break through again. Some of you praying for rain to relieve whatever is thirsty. Some of you tossing queries like dice up to Orion, to Ursa Major, as they diamond carve their way across night. Dear Beloveds, I have not heard or read the news in 7 days, but most likely some of you were mentioned or pictured there. Most likely some of you died in ways that no human was ever meant to, leaving some of you grieving in groves of trees where my dawn is your sunset. Some of you grieving in your living room down the block in a house I've never entered, though I've probably said hello to you, while you kneeled in your front yard patch of Alyssum or Cosmos, separating weeds from blooms and tugging at the root. Some of you are walking over the arc of the bridge between worlds at this moment. Some deaths in hospital beds, some deaths far from home. And by the time I reach the end of this stanza, some of you will have completed your crossing, and I am extending blessings, unfurling from ribcage like ribbons in the wind. Some of you might ask, who the hell are they to extend their blessings? Which choruses well with the questions I ask myself, but I extend anyway and leave you to choose whether or not to accept. Dear Beloveds, I want to believe in all of you, and I do, but I get confused because some of you happen to be officers in the U.S. Army that condone things like taking photos of your soldiers at Abu Ghraib with thumbs up while hovering over the corpses of tortured detainees. Some of you are glad that Matthew Shepard is dead, and you would do it all over if you had to. Some of you believe in the need for a border wall while you forget California, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, and most of Arizona and Colorado and parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Wyoming used to be Mexico. Some of you has pushed yourself beyond someone else's boundaries. Some of you have done so more than once. I understand that there is a great need for healing among us. I understand that if you grew up taking the blows, then you are more likely to deliver them. Right now, one of you is bringing your fist to someone else's jaw. Right now, one of you is pointing a gun at someone else's body. If this poem could do anything, I'd will it to lasso the bullet back into the gun, to bind the severed flesh, to unclench the fist, to fuse bone back to bone. I'd will this poem to ferry you, beloveds, into safety. So take a look at the chat for more information, and if you'd like to contribute your own, if you'd like to read more of other people's contributions, or read the longer version of my piece. Thank you so much.